this is the month-end adjustment. You must recognize the portion of obligation performed here, okay? As we discussed, you debit deferred revenue and then you credit sale, right? Deferred revenue balance will now decrease to 11,000 and your book is all balanced. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be discussing about deferred revenue. By the end of today's video, you understand what deferred revenue is, the conceptual framework that underpins deferred revenue, and I'll also give you guys a practical step on how to account for deferred revenue during the month's end. If today is your first time stopping to my channel, my name is Victoria, and on this channel, I share all things accounting. Without wasting much of your time, consider subscribing, liking, and sharing, and let us get started. So today we understand what deferred revenue is, the revenue recognition conceptual framework, which is underpinned by IFRS 15, the concept of deferred revenue, core principle, accounting lifecycle, practical examples, and finally summary. These are the things we're going to be looking into. So it is fully packed. So now, what is revenue recognition? Because if you are going to talk about deferred revenue, you must talk about revenue recognition because this underpins how to account for deferred revenue. So revenue recognition simply is an accounting conceptual framework that underpins the treatment of deferred revenue. It simply states that for you to recognize a revenue, that you must have satisfied your own obligation, right? Let's take, for instance, that you own an e-business. You have a website where you sell products and you ship those products to your customers once they make an order. So at what point should you recognize your revenue? Imagine you're getting an order from your customer and then you dispatch. At what point should you recognize the revenue? Is it at the point you dispatched or at the time your customer gets the item? We'll find out in this video. So this is a conceptual framework that underpins deferred revenue. Okay? What is deferred revenue? It simply arises when a business receives money in advance for the future work or the service they're about to offer. Let's take, for instance, that you won a contract and they paid you a lump sum for you to fulfill those contracts within the 12 months period. That means you are paid in advance. At what point should you recognize that revenue? Is it immediately you receive the advance lump sum or within a period of time? Tell me in the comment section. So this is what deferred revenue is. You received money in advance for the future work you're supposed to perform. Deferred revenue follows accrual base of accounting, right? It simply said that you don't recognize revenue simply because money has exchanged hand. Rather, it is when you perform your obligation and when the obligation has been fully satisfied. Deferred revenue, when funds are recognized in advance, it becomes a liability rather than an asset. When you receive money in advance, you don't count that as your revenue yet, although you have the cash at hand, but that cash you have at hand is actually a liability to you rather than an asset. We know that when you receive money, when you have money in your bank, we classify it as an asset. But in this case of deferred revenue, because you're yet to actually perform your own obligation, you have to classify that as a liability. This is based on the conceptual framework and accrual-based principle. Accrual principle is there to ensure that you recognize the revenue at the time you earned it, right? At the time you have performed your obligation. That is the accrual principle. Let's say, for instance, that you have actually performed the job, but they're yet to make payment to you. You have earned it. Though you have not received cash, you have the right to recognize that revenue as a receivable. Also, deferred revenue follows the matching principle. The matching principle is there to ensure that the revenue and costs are recognized in the same period to which it relates. Say, the period that an expense helped to generate income, that is the same period that you are going to recognize and account for that amount. Also, performance obligation, when control of goods and services are passed to the customers. So this is a point that you recognize your revenue. You must have performed your own part of the obligation, meaning you must have delivered the goods to the customer and you have passed control to that customer. At that point in time, you know that you have fulfilled your own part of the agreement, and then you have the right to recognize that revenue. Now we're going to look into how to account for deferred revenue. For you to be able to do well here, you must have understood your double entry system. When you receive cash, normally when you receive cash in accounting, when you receive cash, we classify it as an asset, right? And what will be the corresponding credit entry? Because we know that according to the bookkeeping principle or double entry system, right? Every debit entry must have a corresponding credit entry. If you debit, you must also credit, right? So now, when you receive that lump sum in advance, of course, money came into your bank, right? Money is an asset, right? You debit an asset, you received money, right? And what will be the corresponding credit? You credit deferred revenue. And this deferred revenue is what? A liability. Let's take for instance that you purchased an item, okay? You purchased a large equipment for your business. You paid right there outrightly in cash. How would you account for it? What to do first is to think, money is leaving my business, therefore I must credit. And an equipment is coming into my business to help me generate more income. What do? I debit because it's an asset. So once something tangible is coming into your business, it is an asset. Therefore, you must have to debit it. We receive this lump sum, although it's not yet earned, because the money is cash. We must do what? We debit the cash and then credit deferred revenue. It is a liability. This person can demand for this money at any point in time because we have not satisfied our own part of the obligation. And the second step is once goods are delivered, okay? Imagine you receive this money, do the first step, okay? So what is the second step, right? Let's imagine that we are at the end of the month. We have fulfilled the first month contract, okay? We have performed the obligation for the first month. Remember, it is a 12-month contract. You performed the first month. So by the month end, right, you have earned something because you have already performed the obligation. Initially, you credited deferred revenue. So you have to apportion it within those 12 months period equally. And the first month that you have performed obligation for, you do what? At month end, reverse it and debit deferred revenue. When you debit deferred revenue, you see that the amount of deferred revenue liability that you have will do what? Reduce. As soon as you debit deferred revenue, what will be the corresponding credit entry? Now you now have to recognize the sales as credit balance because sales usually is a credit balance. You see what happens here? You see the first step is you debit the cash and then you credit deferred revenue because it is a liability to you. So by month end, once you have earned and performed this obligation, what do? You must recognize the revenue that you've earned, okay? At first step, we have not really recognized any revenue. As you can see, we never credited revenue. Instead, we credited deferred revenue, okay? It's a different thing from revenue. This is a liability, not money earned, because we have not performed obligation. So imagine at month end, you've earned this revenue. You've performed the obligation for the first month. What do? You have to reverse, okay, some portion of the deferred revenue. How do you do that? Because we initially credited deferred revenue, we have to reverse it and debit deferred revenue. What happens to deferred revenue once you debit? It decreases, right? And what will be the corresponding credit entry? That will be the sales. Now we have earned this income, our sales has gone up, and then we have to do what? Recognize the sales, because sales is usually a default credit balance, okay? This is how to account for deferred revenue when you are paid months in advance. Let's take the practical example. Imagine a firm, right, signed a 12-month contract with a client on the 1st of October 2025. The client paid 12,000 upfront for the service, right? Monthly services, you have to divide that by 12, apportion it equally, okay? You debit cash as we discussed earlier, you credit deferred revenue. All right. So this is how to do it. The first step. This is the month-end adjustment. You must recognize the portion of obligation performed here. Okay. As we discussed, you debit deferred revenue and then you credit sale. Right? Deferred revenue balance will now decrease to 11,000. And your book is all balanced. So we have come to the end of today's video. I hope this video has been insightful. You've gained value. If you did gain value from this video, don't forget to give me a like, subscribe, and share this video. And I'm going to see you all on my next one. Stay blessed. God bless.